Vladimir Putin leaking a crucial headline from that private meeting with Donald Trump, a headline that Trump's own team isn't talking about, assuming they even know about it, right? I mean, Bloomberg News is reporting tonight that Putin wanted and told Trump he wanted to hold a referendum for voters in eastern Ukraine so they could choose if they want to be part of Russia. Now, it's basically certain how that referendum would go if it happened. It's a way for Putin to take over more of Ukraine, in addition, of course, to Crimea. And the Russians say Trump asked them not to leak this request because he wanted to consider it in private. He knew it was a huge deal. Margaret Talev is Bloomberg News senior White House correspondent, part of the team that broke this story. I mean, Margaret, this is a pretty incredible thing when you think about it. Trump is not talking, at least, about what happened in this meeting. Yes. But Team Putin is.
Yeah, my colleague Ilya Arkhipov earlier today came to us with this news, and I immediately reached out to the White House and said, do you want to weigh in on this? Is this accurate? Or, how is it accurate? How is it not accurate? Where are you at now? And was met with basically no response. I have no on-the-record response. I have no background response that directly sort of refutes or deals with these individual points. And so the story stands, and it was exactly as you say. It came through a couple of officials in terms of something that Putin said behind closed doors at a meeting with diplomats. So yes, that means the Russians wanted the news to get out. And the White House is now has a new situation where there's news that dribbled out of the summit that Russia has driven the narrative on, and the White House is unable or unprepared or unwilling to kind of set the record straight and say, where do we go from here?
Well, it's really hard for them to do it, right? Because only one person knows other than the interpreter, and that's the president. And, well, who knows what he's going to tell them. I mean, Margaret, just needless to say, this proposal goes against every foreign policy the United States has implemented, that any Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal would support, right? This is one of those things that everybody would agree on. No, you do not have a referendum in eastern Ukraine. Is Trump really considering it?
I'll tell you this, on background, NSC officials telling me that the president and the White House, the administration's position on Ukraine is unchanged. If you take that at face value, it means no, this has no chance of going anywhere. But that is something that somebody at a pretty high level, maybe the president himself, should probably say on the record if that's their position at this point. And I think you're right that at first it's been a matter of trying to understand what actually happened in the meeting. But I think the secondary part of it is if officials come out and say one thing and then the president backtracks against it the next time there's a meeting in the of the cabinet and someone tosses a question and this comes out, they want the message to be consistent at this point, and may have come down on the side that saying nothing is more consistent than trying to clarify the U.S. position. But that's exactly right, because when you look at what happened with the annexation of Crimea by Russia, and then you look at this, there is a 2015 plan to keep the peace in eastern Ukraine. Why put a referendum in the mix now if you're Vladimir Putin, unless you're really trying to start a new test, a new wave?
All right, Margaret, thank you very much with that big development there.